The man poured the fluorescent powder into the solution and stirred it thoroughly with a spoon. He then dipped his finger in the solution and drew a smiley face on the table. He then shone a fluorescent light on the table and the image of the fluorescent powder was very clear. Then the man put a rare medallion into the cup. Let the medallion be soaked in a solution containing fluorescent powder. Then the medal was given to the female museum director and other female curators. After seeing the medal clearly, he couldn't help but hold it in his hand to confirm it again and again. This medal was the one he had been looking for. At this time, the man's teammate was holding a laser instrument and pointing it at the thermal sensor in the display case. Soon the sensor triggered the alarm device, and then the Declaration of Independence in the display case was sent to the basement. After receiving the notification, Xiao Mei immediately went outside the safe room, entered the password of the safe with her finger dipped in fluorescent powder, then strode into the safe and instructed the staff to repair the sensor as soon as possible. At this time, the Declaration of Independence had been moved to the safe. What they didn't know was that everything that happened was seen by the man's teammates through surveillance. Then, Cage sneaked into the museum disguised as a maintenance worker, and immediately went into the bathroom, took off the maintenance worker's clothes, and put on a suit in advance. After throwing the clothes he took off into the trash can, Cage sneaked into the ongoing dance party and took the opportunity when the female curator took the champagne. He took the wine glass from the female curator's hand. Then the man poured out the champagne in the glass, went to the bathroom, and used a special tool to obtain the female director's fingerprint. At this time, the teammates had already turned the surveillance to still mode, and Cage used the female curator's fingerprint to open the special elevator. When he arrived at the door of the safe, Cage immediately pressed the combination lock of the safe, then shone a fluorescent light on the keyboard, and the fingerprints on it were clearly visible. Then, with the help of teammates, Cage quickly found the correct code to open the door. He thus successfully entered the vault. Then he immediately began to dismantle the outer shell and successfully got the original copy of the Declaration of Independence inside. But just as Cage walked out of the museum door, the female curator, who sensed something was wrong, chased him out. By this time, the staff had discovered that the Declaration of Independence had been stolen, and the museum immediately sounded the alarm. Xiao Mei immediately realized that it was Cage who stole the Declaration of Independence, and snatched it away. But this scene happened to be seen by Zhuanggu, who had the same purpose, so he directly kidnapped Xiao Mei. Seeing this, Cage chased after him. After a fierce chase, Xiao Mei was rescued by Cage, but the Declaration of Independence was snatched away by Zhuanggu. At this time, Xiao Mei was very anxious and wanted to get the Declaration of Independence back. But Cage told him that what Zhuanggu took away was the souvenir. But why did Cage steal the Declaration of Independence? What is the man looking for with the detector? Suddenly the instrument responded, and the man immediately used his hands to push away the snow, and actually found a piece of metal under the snow. Then, they dug out a shipwreck from 200 years ago. Several people immediately came to the interior of the cabin, but there was no treasure except gunpowder. However, a gunpowder barrel held tightly by the crew caught Cage's attention. Later, he found a package in the gunpowder barrel. When he opened the package, he found an exquisite box inside, and in the box was an ivory pipe. But faced with the priceless pipe, Cage simply took off the handle of the pipe, and then he cut his finger. Spread the blood evenly on the pipe cake. Then he rotated the blood-stained pipe cake on the paper and several lines of characters with special meanings appeared on the paper. After Cage deciphered it, he discovered that this was actually a clue to finding a treasure. The location of the treasure was written in invisible ink on the back of the Declaration of Independence. But the Declaration of Independence is a special artifact. It is the object of key preservation in the museum. But a few people who were dazzled by the treasure still wanted to steal it. But at this moment, the strong man in the team wanted to keep the treasure for himself, so he threw the burning stick onto the ground covered with gunpowder, and then locked the door of the cabin. Fortunately, Cage found a hiding place. After getting in, the sunken ship loaded with gunpowder exploded violently. Looking at the sunken ship that had turned into ruins, Zhuanggu thought that Cage must have been killed, so he drove away from the scene. His next step was to steal the Declaration of Independence. But what he didn't expect was that Cage actually survived the explosion. He knew that Zhuanggu would definitely steal the Declaration of Independence. So the first thing he did after returning to China was to find the female curator, Xiao Mei, and tell her that someone was trying to steal the Declaration of Independence, but Xiao Mei didn't believe it at all. Cage also discovered that Xiao Mei was missing one medal from her collection, and he just happened to have that one. Since there is no way to stop Zhuanggu from stealing the Declaration of Independence, Cage decided to strike first. The three people who got the Declaration of Independence immediately went to Cage's father's house and smeared lemon juice on the inside of the Declaration of Independence. Then, they blew hot air from a hair dryer, and numerous digital codes appeared in front of them. Cage wrote down all the numbers immediately. Soon, they decipher the numbers and get another clue to the treasure, which is hidden in the shadows of the Independence Hall clock tower at certain times. Smart Cage immediately understood the words on the $100 bill. Got the right time. Soon, Cage found the bricks with special symbols. After removing the bricks, Cage got an old pair of 3D glasses. When he put them on, he saw the location of the buried treasure on the Declaration of Independence. The symbol actually pointed to a long-buried treasure. But before they could decipher the exact location, Zhuang Jiyi's men caught up with them. In order to avoid being caught, Cage and the other two immediately left separately, but Xiaomei accidentally bumped into a pedestrian when leaving, and the Declaration of Independence was still taken by Zhuang Gu. Although Cage escaped from Zhuang Jiyi's men, he was caught on the spot by the pursuing policeman Dashan. But when Dashan was interrogating Cage accidentally saw the correctness of the glasses. At this moment, Chang suddenly called and asked Cage to hand over the glasses. So, in order to avoid dying of old age in prison, Cage decided to cooperate with Dashan and get back the Declaration of Independence. Under Xiaomei's command, Cage and Zhuangge successfully met. In order to ensure that Cage would not cause any trouble, Zhuanggu even captured Cage's father to threaten him. Cage had no choice but to agree to take Zhuanggu to find the treasure. Afterwards, the two came to a church, and by constantly switching lenses, Cage discovered that the treasure was hidden in the basement of the church. Then, they knocked open a special tombstone. The coffin stored inside was carried out, and inside was a long tunnel. A few people passed through the tunnel and found that there was another thing circling below. The wooden ladder had been rotten for a long time. Zhuang Jiyi's men accidentally fell down and the ladder was directly destroyed. Fortunately, there was a vertical elevator. The few survivors took the elevator to the bottom of the cave. Then a secret room appeared in front of them, but it was empty. Zhuanggu suddenly got on the elevator and threatened Cage to tell him the real treasure location. Cage's father thought quickly and made up a clue to tell Zhuanggu. Unexpectedly, Zhuanggu still left a few people here, but Cage was still the same at this time. I believe the treasure is still here. Then he pressed a mechanism and found a secret door. After passing through the secret door, they came to a secret room, but there was still no sign of the treasure. At this time, the groove on the wall caught Cage's attention. He put the pipe into the groove, inserted the pipe handle into the keyhole, and then gently turned a stone door. Suddenly, several people walked in excitedly. What appeared in front of them was countless gold and silver. Treasure. When Cage lit the lighting equipment in the secret room, more rare treasures sparkled in the firelight. In the distance are the stairs leading out of here. The first thing Cage did after coming out of the treasure was to hand over the Declaration of Independence to the police, and he escaped jail. However, someone had to pay for stealing the Declaration of Independence, so the unlucky Zhuanggu became the scapegoat. Cage did not keep the treasure for himself. Instead, he was returned to their original country, and finally lived a happy life with Xiaomei.